Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Meals Delightful Kitchen. Today we're going to be making some mac and cheese, some macaroni au gratin à la Haitienne, guys. These are all the ingredients that I'm going to be using, you guys. I'm not going to go over each ingredients by themselves. As you can see, I put the pictures here. I'm going to have an onion. I chopped up the onion in small pieces. Some people use bell peppers. I only had sweet peppers in my fridge, and that's what I used. I cut them up very small, and basically that's it. And my water, I put a little bit of butter and some salt, and I added my noodles. Now, as my noodles boiling, remember, make sure your water is hot. As my noodles boiling, I went ahead and start cooking the ground turkey. In the ground turkey, I added the seasoning. I went ahead with garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, cayenne pepper, and a little bit of Maggi bouillon. I used the one that's already powdered. I showed it in the picture. You probably don't, if you guys need to see the name, just ask me, I'll tell you. But it's very common. Now go ahead and, I went ahead and make sure the ground beef is fine because you don't want it in clumps. Basically you cook it just like we cook in ground beef, but this was ground turkey, I'm sorry. Now my noodles boiling, but I went ahead and added the vegetables that I cut up in my ground beef. I don't overcook my vegetables because they're going to be going under the oven. I don't want it too soggy when I put it under the oven, including in the noodles. So I went ahead and cook it for about 5 minutes. But if you want to cook it for more, it's really your business. You can cook it how you want. And the flavor, if you need more seasoning, you can go ahead and add more seasoning. But I went ahead with the seasonings to my liking. What I added, that was it. I didn't have to add any more. Now I cooked that and basically set it to the side. Now I went ahead and drained my noodles, and I started on my cheese bechamel sauce. I went ahead and shredded some chopped cheddars sauce cheese. And in my saucepan, I added a little bit of butter and I added 2 carnation milk. Now, I put the same seasoning, the same garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, cayenne pepper. And in the sauce, I added more powder, garlic powder. I added some Mexican blend cheese because it's mixed with like 4 cheese. I like that taste. And you want your heat to be on low and keep stirring your sauce bechamel until it gets thick to your liking. Basically thick like me, as you know. Now you go ahead and stir it constantly because you don't want it to burn. If it's too hot, it's gonna burn. You add your cheese gradually and keep stirring until that cheese is melted. I've seen some people use melted cheese. It's your business if that's what you want to use. But I went ahead and used the one that I shredded. I added a little bit of Parmesan cheese later on because I like the taste of Parmesan cheese, you guys. That the one I added in the sauce was the one that is the one that I'm gonna add in the sauce. It's the one that is freshly grated. I use both. I have the fine one in this one that I'm adding here. I put that in the sauce and put the fine one over the top of the noodles. I went ahead and keep stirring it until I get to the thickness that I want, and basically that's your mac and cheese is ready. Once your sauce is ready, it's ready. And you keep checking the taste. If you don't like it, keep adding seasoning to your liking, but I didn't have to add anything else. Now I put my noodles in a big bowl. I didn't have to make a lot of noodles. It was just 1 pound. And I put that in a big bowl and added the meat over it and added the sauce over the meat. You mix it very well. Make sure everything is well incorporated in the noodles. Make sure it's got all the juice, basically. That's what you want to make sure. You stir it, take your time. There's no rush because your noodle is basically done. Some people like to eat it like that, like a salad. My daughter likes it like that. But of course, I'm making mac and cheese. You bake that. That's what the au gratin mean. You know what I mean? Anywho, you mix that very well until it gets to the point. Now I didn't have no production, so I had to do this with one hand holding the phone and my other hand fixing it. So I'm sorry, you guys, didn't get the way you want. I put 2 spoons of Duke's mayo, and of course you mix it well. Make sure every little bit of mayo is in the noodles because it keeps your noodles not sticking together. Some people put more mayo. I only went with 2 spoons, but of course it's your business if you want to add more. And then basically you butter the pan and put it in the pan and get ready for baking. Now I had preheat my oven at 350 degrees to get ready for it. Now after you put it in the pan, you add I added some chopped cheddar again, but I went with the one that's already pre-shredded because it's finer to me, it's easier to melt. And I added a little bit of Parmesan and Romano cheese. That's what's in that container. I added over the cheese. Basically get ready, it's the topping, and get ready for it to bake. Now when I'm baking the mac and cheese, I didn't put it on the top shelf. I put it on the second shelf in the oven because I want it to cook from the bottom up, because you don't want it to get burned. So that's what I did here, and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about when I went ahead and checked on the noodles after a couple minutes being under the oven. You want to go ahead and check the body of your noodles because you want to make sure it's cooked from the bottom up, because it's gonna burn very quickly. As you can see, my mac and cheese was ready. That was like 30 minutes. And as I check for the golden look that I want, once I get that, it's cooked. I don't time my stuff, but it's up to you if you want to time it. It's always good to have some, if somebody asks you for direction. But that was it. That was my mac and cheese. Of course, it's basically macaroni casserole. That's what some people call it, but in our culture, that's mac and cheese. That's how we make it. Now, that was it, and it was ready to be cut. Now, you don't want a mac and cheese to be too cold when you cut it. So this is how it comes out. As you can see, I didn't, make it look too cute for you guys because I wanted you guys to see how juicy the noodles were as you get ready to eat it. Now, look at this. It's not runny. You don't want your noodles to be runny, but of course it's not dry. You can see all the texture, and I tell you, it was so good. I had to show you guys on the plate, and I had my taste test. My son loved it. Now, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching me. I will see you on the next video. Bisous.